Dun, 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 dun. What is up, everyone? What a beautiful day we had today. It was Friday. Another great day. It wasn't just another Friday, it was another great day. So hopefully you guys live every day as being excited. Every day is a new day. Every day is a clean canvas for you to go paint upon, go create a picture that you want to create. And it's powerful, your perspective and whatnot. So I want to give a shout out. Ended up getting the next episode of the Journey Beyond Divorce podcast uploaded, and that is out for anybody's listening pleasure. Shout out to Titus for jumping on this week with us and sharing his perspective. It was very powerful to listen to his perspective. And what's up, Chris? Happy Friday. Yeah. Very, very true. So, man, though, today was one of those days that going through the 3-day seminar and just the nuggets that were dropped from what I listened to today, everybody's got to hear it. This was one that came from Tim's story. So if you haven't heard of Tim's story, go look him up. Man, just brought some huge stuff, and I've got the notes here, so I'll share that and hopefully inspire you, and maybe you look at something differently. And there was one thing that he had said in a story that really resonated and pierced my heart, and I was like, oh shit, I need to look at this a little bit differently. So it's all good. But one of the many books that I read and whatnot, this is Unlearned. So these are just some things in regards that really sticking. One, he Humble the Post, the author for this book. Change is scary, so what? Do you want to avoid scary things so you can arrive at death safely? How many of you are watching this right now? Hey, what's up, Michael? Appreciate it. See you're doing well too, man. But how many of you right now are just tiptoeing through life and trying to reduce all risk possible? And it's like, if I reduce all risk, things are going to work out. If you go look, Google's failure rate with their projects is 40%. And if you heard a company that had a 40% failure rate, you'd be like, man, that company really needs to look at what they're doing. But you've got to have it where, and this was a very unique perspective. Ashina talked that you need to look at this perspective that anything that you try, 50% of it should have a 50% failure rate. And when you hear failure, people freak out. They're like, oh, failure is bad. Failure is not bad. Failure is something that you need to embrace, because that's where the growth comes into play. That's where you're going to grow and learn and make the pivots that you need to make. And so for me, different things that are coming up with Two Native Sons, looking, and I was talking to a good friend, Garrett, and just some things that we're working on. And I was like, screw this. I ain't reinventing the wheel. I'll go figure out something. So just excited. Big things happen and whatnot. But that's one thing. Too many people want to try to tiptoe through life, and I don't want to do scary things, and I don't want to take risk on because it's bad. Oh, fuck that shit. Yep. And then this one was validation is a hell of a drug. How many of you are out there looking and trying to get validation from other people? This goes to what I talked about yesterday in regards with quit asking for permission. If you're looking for validation from people, you're seeking permission from somebody else to say, hey, you're doing a great thing. No, go do it. The people that see it are going to connect. The people that don't, they won't connect. It's okay. You don't need to be everybody's cup of tea. Don't try to appease to everybody, because if you do that, you're going to have a very tough life of, it's not the life you want. You're trying to cater to everybody else. So just something to think about. But in here with the validation is a hell of a drug. Worry about being comfortable in your own skin, and those who appreciate that will connect with you. That is huge when you really think about it. Be yourself. Don't worry about what other people are doing. And those that see and connect with you will connect. Just go be yourself. Don't try to do some funky stuff of I'm going to be this way with one person, I'm going to be this way with another person. Show up as you are, and the people that are meant to be part of your mission, part of your journey are going to show up. And I've gotten to that, like I've told people, you got to get to the point where people either hate you or love you. This crazy middle ground that people want to play. No, screw that. Now you're trying to worry about everybody else. Worry about yourself. But just, man, some big things. And these were some of the nuggets that Tim had shared today. And I'm just grateful that I took the leap, went to the seminar and just listening and just things that are coming out of it. Change your perspective looking at it. One thing he said is feeling the sting of your setbacks. Yes, your setbacks. Feel those stings. Allow them to shape you, because those setbacks, that sting is prepping you for your life's comeback. How many of you have had setbacks that have taken place and you're still living in it? You're allowing that to cause paralysis because you are letting that setback determine your life. And I'll have some examples I'll share and whatnot in regards to what Tim had shared. And it was very powerful to look at it this way. And it may be something that when you hear it, you'll be like, shit, yeah, I need to change my story. Well, maybe. But he was talking that with learning, there's 3 ways that we learn. One is through education. So when you go sit through a seminar, a class, whatever it is, that's education. Another one is conversation. And conversations are huge. And I had shared this, that you have to go in with an open mind. A mind works best like a parachute when it's open. If you go into a situation, you're talking to somebody, you're like, I've already heard this. This is the 7,000th time that I've heard this. I don't want to listen anymore. That person that you're talking to may share a golden nugget that you really need at that time. But because you went in with a closed mind and you're like, I've already heard this, you're going to miss out. And you're really going to be angry because that one gold nugget that you probably needed at that time, but you were being hard-headed and thick-headed, you just missed out. Good job. So be mad at yourself. Be mad at that you did that. But when it comes to the setbacks, and he was talking that with momentum, kids have massive amounts of momentum. And he's talked to top psychologists, therapists, and even when kids have gone through traumatic experiences, a lot of people think, and this is what he was saying, a lot of people look at momentum as an outside thing. Momentum is inward. Momentum is the mindset piece. It's the winning piece. And if you look at kids, man, a lot of them will keep to themselves, but they've got that momentum inwards that's pushing them. And it comes from the mindset, it comes from the soul, it comes from the heart. And that's where your dreams and visions come into play, with this momentum to drive and push you. But too many times we allow the setbacks to come in. And he was discussing that the fact that you have the issue where, let me see, the setbacks are just because of life interruptions. And these interruptions can be through health, relationships, accidents, jobs, finances. And what happens is many times these interruptions, people don't know how to overcome them. And that's where that setback comes into play. And most will sit in the setback. And they're going to sit there and let it sink them in. Then he said, then you end up settling into the setback. And what you do when you settle in the setback, you are creating a discounted version of yourself. Think about that. You sit in that setback and you start settling, you are creating a discount version of yourself that you don't deserve. Somebody else doesn't deserve that version of yourself, but you're selling yourself short because you're holding on to the setback and this is who I am. This is my life. No. Get out with that, overcome. And this is where I'm very passionate on. People need to create their circle, find people that are going to elevate you, find people that see more in you than you see in yourself, that are going to pull you out of it. But you've got to understand that they are not the hero in your life. You are the hero. They're there to help give you guidance. They're there to give you mentorship. They're there to just be a guiding light. But you've got to do the work. So how many of you right now are settling into your setback and letting that determine who you are? Or you keep replaying old stories? And then the last part that is very dangerous is people become cemented. So actual cemented into their setback. And that's who they are. Let me see, Chris, and then becomes creative avoidance. It's very true. Yes, creative avoidance, where now you're freaking out and you're using these setbacks to allow it to dictate what's going to happen in life. And that's where people will look and be like, oh, I can't do it. I'm going to fail. Uncle Bob in the van down by the river is telling me that I'm not smart enough. I'm not going to be able to succeed. Well, look at Uncle Bob. He's in a van down by the river. Is that somebody to really truly listen to? I don't know. You've got to ask it. But this is the thing that really hit me. And so Tim was on an airplane talking to a gentleman, and they were talking a little bit. And he asked him, he's like, "Are you single or are you married?" The guy's like, "I'm divorced." And Tim's like, "That's not what I asked you. Are you single or married?" And the guy again said, "I'm divorced." And when I heard that, I was like, am I doing that? Am I looking and saying, when somebody asks me if I'm single or married, am I saying I'm divorced? It really pierced my heart. I was like, oh, shit. And so they went back and forth on this for a while. And then Tim looked at him and he asked him, how long has this situation been going on for? How long have you been divorced? And the guy said, 17 years. 17 years. And he keeps talking he's divorced. Now, think about that. You've got 17 years, you're divorced. You're probably missing out on relationships that could be what you need, or you may be attracting the wrong thing because of how you're thinking. And when I heard that, I was like, oh, shit. And so it's one thing that you cannot teach from your wounds. You have to teach from your scars. And so I think with the podcast, the Journey Beyond Divorce podcast that myself and Miriam have put together, I've healed myself enough. I'm teaching from scars. I don't have these wounds. And so there's a lot of different things that have taken place. And he brought up another example. Tim had brought up another example of he'll hear people kind of get down on themselves because they had a child at the age of 15. And he'll look at that person and be like, you're not 15 anymore. So think about that. What has happened in your past that you're holding on to? These setbacks are defining you instead of being part of your journey, part of your story to elevate yourself, to be able to teach others and help others out. How often are you missing out on the opportunity to help somebody else out because you're so stubborn that you're holding on to this story and potentially playing the victim role? Do you want to be a victim or do you want to be a victor? And so when I heard that, I was like, oh my goodness. I was like, shit. Just some different things and whatnot. And then he had shared 5 things that you have to be mindful about when it comes to creating your comeback story. And so if you would like to know what those 5 things are, and if this stuff is resonating with you that I'm sharing, send me a private message. I'll share the 5 things with you. But if you're not interested, that's cool. That's on you. But these things, man, I was like, ooh, buddy. Powerful tools that a lot of people overlook. You've got to overcome the setbacks and understand that the setbacks, that sting of your setback is there starting to prep you for your life's comeback. But it depends on how you look at it. And so this kind of correlates with what I've talked about before, where how are you stacking your thoughts? Are you stacking negative thoughts? Which that is an aspect that where your focus goes is where the energy goes. And you can be like, oh, here he goes with time out energy. There's plenty of scientific studies and research that shows that people that talk about energy, the vibrations, it's true. Rocks give off their own vibration. So it's one of those things that when you hear somebody, and I haven't heard it in a long, long time, but when you hear somebody says you're as dumb as a box of rocks, is that like a slap to those rocks? I look at things differently, and so it's one of those things. But like I said, there's 5 things that Tim had talked about when it comes to tools to look at to start building and creating your comeback story, and things that you need to be mindful about as you're doing this. And if you like that information, those 5 things, send me a private message. More than happy to share it with you. But as I've talked about, brought up before, Miriam and I have our workshop that's launching next Saturday, the 17th. It's a 6-week workshop. It goes from 3 to 4 every Saturday, and it will be digital, so it's going to be Zoom. The event is located on Eventbrite. What I'll do is, once I'm done here, because I'm using StreamYard to stream this live, I'll go and grab the link for that workshop and put it in the note, not the notes, but the description of the video. And if you know anybody that has gone through a divorce, that's going through a divorce, and they just can't figure out a way to overcome their negativity, to overcome their mindset, that they feel like they're the only ones on their island and nobody else has gone through this before, share that link with them. Because from what myself and Miriam have done, what we've overcome, and when we talk to individuals and bring this up, they specifically say this is something that's needed, because people will go through this journey of divorce after divorce, and they end up repeating the same thing over and over again. And it's because they're by themselves and they're scared to ask for help. And one thing I tell people is, asking for help is not a sign of weakness. And that's something that we truly need to overcome. We need to shake this out. We need to break this down. This idea that is asking for help is a sign of weakness. No, you're only one person. You can only do so much. And if you don't create the tribe, you don't find the people that can help you out, you're going to constantly be on this vicious treadmill of doing the same thing over and over again. So, like I said, I'll update it. I'll put that link in there. Share with anybody that you know that could benefit from it. Because our biggest thing is giving value to others and helping them understand that people have gone through it. And we're here to help individuals get through this storm, be a mentor, a guiding post for them, helping them see that they can do it and they can become their own hero and end up living their best life that they are striving for, but they just don't know how to get there. So other than that, thank you guys for your time. And like I said, I always say too, any aha moments that you took from this, put it in the comment section. If you feel as if you don't have anybody that is there for you, you feel like you're a crab in a bucket full of crabs and you're trying to climb out and people are pulling you down, send me a private message, reach out to me. We've got to help each other out. The biggest thing that's happening is it's the collaboration piece. You can go fast by yourself, but to get far, you have to work together. And so I'm very big on that, and people need to understand this. But I can only say so much. People have to be open and start doing the work to experience that. So again, thank you guys for your time. I love you. Peace.